houseandgardenprojects.com. I'm at a house that has a problem with their sprinkler system. They have a section of their yard that doesn't shut off all the way. It just keeps running 24 hours a day. So that needs to be repaired. So I thought I would do a quick tutorial on how to do that. Okay, here's one of the sprinkler heads. It just runs like this 24 hours a day. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the valve, pull it apart, and see what's going on. Okay, here we are at the valve. I've shut the main sprinkler system off so that when we take it apart, water doesn't come gushing out. And all you need to do is unscrew all these screws. You have 8 of them. Okay, this is the solenoid. This is what the electricity hooks to turn the valve on and off. And there's 2 screws that hold this solenoid in. So be careful when you take these 2 screws out that you take this solenoid off very carefully, because there's a plunger inside and you don't want to have that fall out when you take this off. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. See, you'd prefer not to lose that. That dropped down the hole, you'll have to retrieve it. Sometimes it's difficult to find. So just be careful, set that aside in a manner that'll keep it clean and not have the plunger fall apart on you. Now here's an unusual thing. This is a Toro valve. After you get the solenoid off, there's still 2 more screws that hold this top on. Those need to come out also. Okay, once you get the top off, take it off carefully. There's a spring. You don't want to lose that. Just set that aside in a clean place. And here's what they call a diaphragm. Diaphragm doesn't look very good. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's pretty well used. Pretty big indentation here. Probably a good reason why it's not shutting off all the way. So this is a Toro valve. I don't have parts for this. It's sort of an unusual valve. You don't see them too much here in Las Vegas. So I'm going to have to go down to the sprinkler shop and buy this part. Okay, this ring here, should inspect it for any cracks. You don't want any cracks in it. And while you have the valve apart, it's a good idea to go ahead and replace this, regardless of how it looks. While you have it apart, you might as well do that too. Okay, since I have to go to the sprinkler shop to buy this part, why don't you come along with me, and while we're there, maybe they'll give us a quick tutorial on how this works so you can see it better. We'll get it on a table with some good light, and then we'll come back here, put it together, see if we can get this leak fixed. Okay, we're down here at my sprinkler shop. We're going to go inside, see if they can give us a few pointers on how to take care of this problem. Hey Tim, how you doing?
Good, how's it going?
We're having a little problem with this valve. It doesn't seem to be shutting off properly, so I thought I brought it to an expert.
264 series.
You're
Toro.
the man to talk to about Toro valves, and this is a sprinkler shop that's a Toro distributor, so I'm here to get your expert opinion on what to do.
No problem there. What's the valve doing?
Well, it's not shutting off all the way. It only seeps. It just seeps.
It's kind of just trickling through.
Trickling through, yeah.
Okay. Most likely, in the shape of this diaphragm, it is a diaphragm, but when a diaphragm fails, one of 4 things will happen. Your valve won't turn on, your valve won't turn off, your valve won't come on all the way, or your valve won't shut off all the way. So you got all those problems go directly to this piece.
Okay.
And a collar. There's another piece underneath, and we'll show you that here in a sec how that works.
Okay, great.
Okay, now that we're pretty much disassembling the valve, a few more screws here, and then we'll get to the kind of the more technical side of what we need to be careful with. Okay, so the Toro valves are one of the most, this series is very unique because it's the only valve that actually has 2 screws that bolts down the solenoid. But now what we have to be really careful of is once we remove the solenoid, especially in the field, that there is a plunger, but within the plunger there is a very small spring. Okay, we lose that spring, it's very easy, it's not easy to find. So the spring goes in, and the confusing thing is once people don't pay attention, that little point goes to the spring and the grommet stays down. So we always want to make sure that our plunger is movable and flexible. And of course we want to just keep this out of the way. Behind that there is an O-ring. The O-ring simply can be placed over, set it aside. Okay, now once you remove the solenoid, you have 2 additional screws that bolt down the top itself. So once we remove those screws, then we're actually going into the valve itself, which is just a couple simple parts on this particular valve. Okay. So underneath we have a larger spring. Okay. Then we have the actual diaphragm itself, and then the support ring. Okay, so what we want to look for, sometimes it's just a diaphragm. Like this is an old diaphragm. In comparison to the new diaphragm, you can see the wear and tear difference. Huge difference. Okay, but what we also want to look for is at the support ring is there's any fractures, which is pretty common, especially these valves last a long time, in that support ring. So generally you have to buy these 2 pieces by themselves, but if you're going to change one, change them both. Okay, so the support ring goes in, simple. Diaphragm goes on. You don't have to line anything up. It can go any direction you want. Spring goes in, top goes back on. Now what you want to keep in mind is this valve is designed for a very slow shutdown rate. So when you're manually bleeding the valve, which is done here, okay, by loosening this, the valve will manually open. It has a very slow shutdown time. So don't be impatient. If it takes a minute, that's normal. If it takes 5 minutes, that's not normal. Okay, but also when we take that apart, we want to make sure no debris, no dirt, no nothing has gotten back into our valve. We want to keep it 100% clean. Other than that, it's just reassembling, tightening. Nothing needs to be, and watch using electric drills, power screwdriver stuff, because if you over tighten stuff and you strip something out, that means everything you just try to do, could be a whole nother project. So now that we've done the 264 series, the 254 series is also the same identical valve. It just has a flow control to it. So that just allows the control of the water through the valve if we choose to use it. But everything we've just done works for both series of valves.
Okay, so that's about all there is to it?
That's about all there is. You got all the tricks and secrets.
Okay, well, I've done plenty of this sort of work, but you're the Toro expert, so I thought I'd come to you.
and make a video at the same time. So I get
good.
some information, YouTube gets some information, and I sure appreciate it.
I hope that helps you and everybody else.
Helped a lot. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Okay, first the collar goes in. Next you put your new diaphragm in. Put it in with this top sticking up. Then you want to have this spring with the fat side upward, and when you put this together you want to be sure that this little metal spindle in the middle goes through the middle of the top of this diaphragm. Okay, we're just going to tighten these screws down. Make sure it's lined up with the solenoid pointing forward, the direction of the water, which would be this way. Forget which direction that was. Just remember it goes back in the same way it came out. If you need to, take a photo of it. Whatever you need to do, draw a little diagram on a piece of paper so that you remember which direction it goes. Just be sure that the solenoid is on the same side as when you took it out. Okay, once you get them all snug, go around once more. Make sure they're all tight. You don't want any leaks here. Okay, carefully put the solenoid back on. You don't want to lose this plunger. Line it up with the holes and screw it on nice and tight. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn the water on. See if this does the trick. Okay, we're done here. This should solve any problems you have with your valve. On some occasions, this won't fix it. You get a crack in the body or some other little defect in the valve and you have to replace the whole valve. But this should solve any problems you have. If they don't, we're going to go ahead and replace the valve. In my next episode, I'm going to replace the whole valve, and you can see what you need to do if this doesn't solve your problem. But anyway, go ahead and visit my website. You can find out a lot more about a lot of different topics. Besides gardening, there's concrete in there, masonry, plumbing, roofing, all sorts of categories. Go take a look and see what I have on there. Please don't forget to subscribe, and if you like this video, click below and give me a like. I'd appreciate it. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next episode.